What's the relationship between Ramsey and Cole look like at the beginning of season 2?
They are in a somewhat nebulous place, and as you know, at the end of season 2, they were at odds, and everything sort of climaxed in this shootout sequence. And Cole makes the decision to go against his fate, his destiny, and save his friend. And so they basically decided that, their relationship is more important than any differences they might have. I think they decided they're brothers. So at the beginning of season 2, you see that they're together, but they're still of two separate minds, trying to figure out how to find their way through.
I actually had a question for Kirk. There was a shot last season on your hands, and it was really kind of like peeling and stuff. And I actually really wanted to find out if that was a part of like the time serum effects, or.
Yeah, I mean, one of the side effects of going back in time is that if you're back in time for a long period, like for years, you tend to age, and that was like one of the effects of me because I was there for like 30, 40 years. So it's one that's better my hand
than your face,
than having to go and get prosthetics on your face for like 3 hours. Yeah.
So there's going to be a big dramatic shift between Cole and Cassandra in that now the power is kind of shifted where she can time travel but he can't. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's sort of true. Cole is stuck in one place. And at the beginning of season 2, she is sort of stuck in another place. She's in the future and he's in her time. And they've both switched places in other ways as well. And she goes to the future and she gets a glimpse of the world, of Cole's world, of the apocalypse, and she sees, how bad it can be and how low humanity can sink. And it changes her, it hardens her. And Cole, having known her and having been in her time, he sees it's a different view of people than he's ever had before, and he values human life more than he ever has. And so that changes him. So I think she becomes a bit more ruthless, and he becomes a bit more careful with his morality.
Do you guys know how many episodes season 2 has?
13. Yeah.
13.
So time is a difficult concept to define in the show.
This is true.
Yes, very hard. And it seemed the way season 1 played out, which was absolutely brilliant, that everything was sort of circular and it was all happening at the same time, but we didn't know it because your episodes were rolling out week by week, so we couldn't watch it all at once. It clicked along the way. And it seemed that you guys had a pattern. Your relationship was bound to go somewhere. Is it bound to follow a similar sort of puzzle piece like Rubik's Cube path, or is time going to make things different for you? Is each sort of timeline going to be different? Are you going to eventually get to the same endpoint?
I think we're always going to come to the same loggerhead. I think it's always going to come to the same, we each have a different agenda, and I just don't see how it's always going to come to a head somehow. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just the two different directions are just going to pull from the other. You know what I mean? So I don't see how. Not that we'll be. Like I said, we agree to disagree. And right now we're just working on it's like a little burnt toast. We're both a little burnt. You know what I mean? But the friendship, the bond is so strong that you let things slide. You know what I mean?
It's like family, you don't really have a choice who your family is, and I think Cole and he are they're family, and even though they have their differences and things are going to heat up, and as in real life, situations can blow up into very ugly situations, murder, what have you.
That's a regular thing all the time. When I get angry at my cousin, I just murder them. That's how I handle it.
A lot of domestic situations. So that's where they're at. It's like they're family, but there's a lot of turmoil there too, and a lot of tension, and who knows where it's going.
I have a question. I have a couple of fan theories I'd like you guys to weigh in on if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah.
These are not mine.
Right.
Cole is the infected corpse.
I mean, I can neither confirm nor
Do
deny.
you know?
Do I know?
Yeah.
I might have an idea about that. I can't tell you people about these things.
Man, okay. Ramsey's son Sam is actually the Pallid Man.
Well, I think that's something like I tweeted. I think that it's.
That's when you started that.
Because I
the
said
timer.
he's my
You
father.
gotta
Remember, I was tweeting at her last year, and I think some other people have brought that up too. Like, are we related somehow, some way?
So it was a
I
Twitter
don't know.
joke that's lasted.
Yeah, I think it rolled into something else.
Right.
But you never know. I mean, with Terry's mind, I mean, you know. So.
We do have to cut. I'm sorry.